Hello, everyone. Welcome to Health 180 with Carion Fenn on Rogers TV. My name is Carion Fenn. It is Black History Month. It's a heritage to celebrate, a future to build, acknowledging the incredible contributions Black Canadians have made to Canadian society. Today, I'm joined by Janelle Benjamin from All Things Equitable, Inc., and Jeanette Lewis, author of the book Lost and Found. Black History Month is the opportunity to recognize Black excellence. We want to help you learn more, so let's learn together. Janet, welcome to our show, and Janelle, welcome back.
Thank you so much, Karen.
It is Black History Month. I'm going to have to ask you this, because I think sometimes I interpret Black History Month differently than other people. I used to be able to enjoy the part where, like, I went and saw Prime Minister Trudeau with my son for Black History Month, and it was nice to hear him talk about how important Black history is and recognizing Black excellence. Being someone who have a history of racial trauma, it just reminds me of that trauma that I gone through, so I'm going through that process. So, Janelle, tell me, what does Black History Month means to you? Not before, like right now in that moment, because we go through stages in our lives of what we're exposed to. What does Black History Month mean to you?
For me, it means recognizing the contributions of Black Canadians, the excellence, the fact that we're part of the social fabric of this land, of this place. It means just a recognition of the past, of the historical benefits, that people have sort of laid the foundation to sort of get us to where we are today, the contributions that people have made in the past that we can look to as our legacy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was interesting because I received an invitation to a Black History event, which was Ottawa. It happened in Quebec, but we didn't get the address. Like 4 hours before we got the address, but I get it's probably to protect the Prime Minister. But I decided to take my 14-year-old who was also exposed to racism, but I wanted him to have that experience, right? And to see that moment of not only seeing other Black excellence in the room, because obviously everyone in that room has a special invitation, right? And to be able to give my 14-year-old child that moment and that power back of hearing his Prime Minister stand in front of them and say, Black History Month matters and Black excellence is important. Janelle, how do you feel in regards to the moment we're in now of Black history and Black excellence?
I think right now I feel that, like, Black history means to me, it's an opportunity for us to look at where we've been, what we've contributed, what we've done, and also the areas that we need to improve. So I think where we are right now, Black history means to me an opportunity for the younger generations who don't know much about maybe some of the contributions that Black people have done here in Canada, in the US, and even all throughout the world, and even some of the atrocities that they've been through. Because for me, learning about the hardship that my ancestors went through helped me to be better at handling racism here in my day-to-day life. Yeah.
I'm preparing for a presentation for Black History Month, and I'm reading all the history, and Kingsley Gillam from Black Action Defense Committees provided me with some research and stuff like that to be able to tell some of the story of Black history. But knowing how our ancestors were slaves, and one of the things that stood out to me, Black individuals weren't allowed to be published because it felt that we didn't have what it takes to be published. So being a TV show host and reading that my ancestors weren't allowed to be published, and I'm on TV and look at it like, we're making progress. Are we making like, sometimes I feel like we're making progress and sometimes we don't. It feels like we're not making progress. And especially a lot of us who are going through that systemic challenges behind the scenes. How do you feel when you hear that, Janelle? Being in your area of expertise in terms of equity and equality and having to go through these moments behind the scenes and in silence and put on a smile on your face?
So I will say we made progress, right? I'll start by saying, our achievements are accomplished, right? They're done. But there's absolutely a lot more to do. We've got a lot more to accomplish. And we have everything that it takes. We're talented, we're capable, we're bright. We're excellent.
Yes.
We're the very definition of Black excellence. And so we have everything we need. We have everything that the ancestors bestowed upon us to move forward and to pick up the torch, pick up the mantle, so to speak, and move forward to continue, with the legacy that they've left us and to continue the progress. So for me, it means more of the same, recognizing that we were enslaved, we are no longer. We've made substantial gains in every aspect of society that have been recognized globally. But I can't wait to see what we do next.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I want you to share with us, because I know you're a powerhouse of a woman, I want you to share with us the Black excellence of Janelle.
Oh my goodness. You're making me blush. What can I say about myself? I absolutely hate talking about myself. I'm an introvert, step number one. So, shining the spotlight on me is always, a cringy moment for me. But, what I would say makes me excellent now is just everything that I do to increase and improve equity for historically marginalized groups and Black people inside corporations, right? My work is at the intersection of all, right? All people who are on the margins, who've been disenfranchised, kept out, held back, for whatever reason, right? Dealing with systemic inequities, but also dealing with the individual barriers, right? The attitudinal barriers. So addressing those things, I would say, makes me excellent, right? The ability to unpack and to make recommendations for change within organizations to truly make all things equitable, the name of my company, for everyone, I think is a important work that I'm proud of, and work that I hope my children will be proud of. So, yeah.
Okay. So, in terms of what makes you excellent, what would you say? What would you say, Jeanette?
I would say that my excellence comes from just knowing who I am within. I migrated to Canada when I was 15 years old, and it was quite a life-changing experience for me. And me being able to hold true to my foundation, hold true to my values of my upbringing, and apply those to my work ethics has made me excellent. And I can look at myself, look at my career, look at my life, and I can actually see the growth. Like, I started my career as a telemarketer, and now I work as a change management expert. And I get to see the changes within the organizations. Also, when it comes to racism and microaggression, I get to see how some of those play out, and I also get to influence how some of those may, influence us or make things better for us as a Black person within the organization. So I would say my excellence comes from within, and my excellence is who I am as a person and the contribution that I've made to people within my personal life and also people that are at work.
Yes.
Yeah, and within the community as a whole.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I've experienced is we need to have organization make the steps to change things. And I think it's so empowering when organizations see systemic issues and say, we're not going to do that. But the issue is where we're going to have barriers is those organizations who are not willing to take the steps to stop those things from happening. Standing up and saying, we're not going to tolerate this and this. We see that's not in the best interest. We're going to do that. Janelle, how, from your expertise in what you do, how do we move along those organizations who know what's going on in systemic anti-Black racism, but are not willing to do what it takes or take the steps to actually implement change for the future?
Tough question, Carion. I mean, I said to my children this morning, just getting ready for school, you can drag a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink, right?
Yes.
And I think the water is all around us at all times, right? It's in the media. I don't think there's anyone who hasn't heard about George Floyd, who hasn't heard about the systemic inequities or the oppression that Black people historically have faced. I don't think there's anyone who hasn't heard that we were enslaved at one point and that we need more equity in society. We need more equity within workplaces. Everybody knows, right? I think what motivates people to do something, to act, to want to change is going to be different. It's really individual. And it stems from, first of all, knowledge and awareness, a lot of compassion for communities that may not look like you, and then, exercising allyship in a lot of ways, right? If you are someone who cares about communities, who wants to see an equal world, right? Who wants to see an equitable world, then it's incumbent on you to do something, to step up, to be a part of the change. And not just sort of sit back and be complacent, right? That's anti-racism work. It's the activism, it's the movement towards the change, and not hoping that, things just sort of fix itself, because that has not worked, right? We know that change has come from a lot of agitation and activism, and more of the same is required, whether you're outside of an organization or inside of an organization, right? Use your power, leverage what you have in order to affect the change. But again, it's deeply personal. It has to come down to the individuals within the organizations and their leadership abilities. And I say to everyone, you have some sphere of influence. Use that, leverage that to drive the changes that you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
How you see, because we're looking at what's happening in Durham region, and we went out of town and to celebrate Black History Month, and it was so refreshing to see the difference. And we left Durham region with the negative conversation around Black history. We shouldn't have Black history. Then we went out of area and where Black history was celebrated and Black history was being put out there, where it's an important moment, not just for what happened or now, but it's for a future generation as well, right? And then when you look at, for instance, I work closely with Mayor Ash for a mental health program, and just to have someone that entrusted in me something that's not only special in terms of a family value, but something that can help the community, entrusted that trust to trust my leadership and skills, and then having to face that, but then calling it out. I want to ask you one more question, Janelle. Sure. How important is it when you see these systemic things that are happening, how important is it for leadership to call it out?
If you're a leader within an organization and you can see systemic issues, again, using your power and your influence to call it out. I mean, if you notice something, it's like if you see something, say something.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, a lot of people don't see the systemic issues, right? And if something's brought to your attention, I think if you're a person who cares about justice and equity and fairness, then you're going to want to bring those things forward. You may not have the skills to fix it, the know-how. You might have to engage others. But at least if you're spotting the issue, then I think it's important for you to speak up and say something.
To speak up. So important to be able to say, you know what, call it out. And I think that's what's empowering for me, is like hearing it called out. It's so important.
Yeah. See something, say something.
See something, say something. We'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Welcome back to Health 180 with Carion Fenn on Rogers TV. My name is Carion Fenn. Jeanette is back with me in studio, and we are talking about Black History Month, Black excellence, and racism. You're the perfect person to talk about this topic to. Can you tell me a bit about your background in terms of your company and what you do, and how do you work within the community?
So my background Professionally, I work as a change manager and a project manager. So for those who don't know, as a change manager, I work with organizations and I help to manage the people side of change. So whenever there's a change in the organization that affects the people, that's where I come in to ensure that the people are ready for that change. And in the organization, I have an organization called Black Unity. So the idea of Black Unity is to work with other Black organizations to see how we can come together and solve the mutual problems. Because what I realize is that there's a lot of different pockets of organizations out there, and what we have in common is the Black audience. What we have in common is trying to support the Black audience, but sometimes we may have a little bit of too much. So the idea of Black Unity is to see how we can see what Carion is doing, to see what someone else is doing, and how we can actually work together to make the dream go further.
Yes, yes. I think that's what too we need to focus on. I try within what I do to see how I can give someone else the opportunity to stand with me on my platform so they can grow too. Whether it's through my charity where we have events, speakers, on my show, because I think it's so important for us to be able to support each other and to be able to help, each other rise, right? We often see, which we shouldn't, that sometimes in the Black community, we may not be as, supportive as we should do.
Would you like to be?
Yes, yes, yes. And I get it too. Like I have received the explanation in terms of because of the suppression and racism, it's almost seems like you have to hold on to that. And, some of these behaviors or some of these way people are reacting is because of these barriers that they're exposed to, right? So how do we change in our community to help support embracing each other and sharing our platforms and helping each other to grow?
Excellent question. In change management, there's a lot of methodologies that is normally used to manage the change. And there's a particular methodology that I like, and part of that methodology starts with awareness and desire. And awareness to me is the number one thing. In anything that you do, if you're aware of what it is and aware of what you need to do, it makes a big difference. Yes. And the desire is, do I have a need, or do I have any kind of interest in seeing that change, for example? So how we can get together and make a difference is by building awareness. Taking the opportunity for yourself to do the research. For example, when I was putting Black Unity together, one of the things that I did with the two girls that I was working with is trying to identify what are the different organizations that are out there that are doing what. How do they meet up? Where do they meet up? How can we plug in, and how can we learn about what each other is doing? Right? And then if I find out that you're doing something similar, how can we come together and put hands together and make that work and even make that bigger? But you hit on something earlier. Sometimes it's a challenge for us to come together, and I'm still trying to learn and find out what is it? Why is it? For me, what I've experienced or what I've learned is a lot of apprehension comes from a little bit of a mistrust. And that mistrust lies in a lot of foundational issues. It could be out of ignorance, in the simple form of the word ignorance, the person just doesn't know, or it could be the person, again, going back to awareness, they're not aware of what the person is or what the person's capability is, so they kind of take that step back and they have that indirect mistrust. But my goal and my desire is that we all can come together and start supporting each other, because we have a lot in common. The one thing that we have in common is our struggles. We're all struggling, and the solution that may be for you may also be the same solution for me, because again, the one thing we have in common is that struggle.
So struggle.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to know what you feel about this, because some individual first faces certain issues in life, right? And you not sure. Do you think that, let me back this up a little bit. Do you think that some individuals were born to be change agents? Because I find it that looking on my history and the things that have happened, I'm making a lot, I'm taking it on, not that I want to, but I have to take it on to take these steps to change things for humanity.
Yeah, I know what
Right?
you mean. I know exactly what you mean. I think on some level we're all change agents in
Yeah.
some way, shape, or form. But for some of us, we're more of a change agent, or we carry more of that change agent burden, and it may comes from the level of desire. So going back to
Yeah.
that desire that I talk about, desire comes from something that is within you, or comes from something that you think you're going to get out of it. One of the
Yes.
other things that we talk about in change management is what's in it for me.
Yes.
So that desire is also linked to that what's in it for me. So what makes you a bigger change agent versus Mary, for example, is that level of desire that is within you that wants to see that change. It could be because
Yes.
of personal experience.
Yes.
It could be because of something that happened to a family member, but that increased that desire to make you want to be a bigger change agent, and that's what I feel.
Do you think there's a reason why we all experience these things? Because we all don't go through the same things. We all don't have the same challenges, or happy moments that happens in life. Are you a spiritual person?
I'm
No.
I'm a spiritual person, not a religious person
Oh, that's a
anymore.
good- yeah.
But I am a spiritual person, and I'm starting to believe and realize and accept that your mindset has a lot to do with what you are and the life that you manifest. So to answer your question, do you think that we all have the same level, or do we all go through the same things? We go through different things because we may have different path, and we
Yes.
have different
Yes.
mindset, and therefore we manifest different things that
Yes.
puts us on a different path.
Yes,
You see, or
yes,
we
yes.
prioritize different things that puts us on a different path.
Yeah.
Right? So it depends on where that desire is coming from.
Because when you look at Barack Obama, when you look at the Honorable Jean Augustine, when you look at all these different individuals who are making a difference, right? And you have to wonder, like, how do they become that person, And looking back, like, the path I've been on, I don't want I don't want to deal with that stuff. I don't want to do that. But then you're in a position where you have to. Because in order to make a difference, you have to challenge the system.
Do you mean you
right?
don't? Sometimes you don't want to deal with the challenges that it takes to get you to where you need to go, but then you feel like I have no choice.
If it's a pathway you're on, it seems like
Exactly.
you're selected or you've been chosen on this pathway of making a difference for humanity.
Yeah. I believe there is a definite calling to it, like someone
Yeah.
like yourself, because a regular person, or a person who doesn't have that calling or that destiny, if you may, would not purposely put themselves in a pathway of getting beat up, getting insulted, getting hated, losing friends, losing family for that cause,
For that
right? So there must be something that is planted within you, I believe, that will, one, dictate that you have to go along with this path, and two, that seed that has been planted in you, whoever has planted that seed will fuel you to help you to go along. So that's where you get that energy from to keep going when you feel like stopping, right?
That makes a lot of sense what you're saying. It's interesting. I got an email because apparently the Attorney General of Canada would they asked for a meeting with myself, and I'm like, whoa, I'm getting an email asking for a meeting with the Attorney General of Canada. We're not talking about the Attorney General for Ontario, right? But it all seems that things just fall into place as you move forward. I'm interested to find out your book that says Lost and Found. What does that mean? What is Lost and Found? And what would motivate you to actually write a book, Lost and Found?
How long do you have? So that's interesting. So Lost and Found, how to find yourself, take charge of your life, and unleash your inner power.
Yes.
So Lost and Found was born out of exactly what it was. I was lost.
Yes.
I was lost. And I was going through a transition period in my life where I was finding myself. I didn't even know I was lost.
Yes.
I didn't even know I was lost, but I was going through this period where nothing made sense. The path that I was on was no longer working out for me. It didn't seem clear. It didn't seem like it was lining up with who I want to be as a person.
Yes.
So I started to bring forth that desire that I've always had to tell my story, to write my story, talk about, who I am. And so the central theme or the central topic of Lost and Found is really finding that person that is within you that life may have buried.
Yes.
Like when I started finding myself, I realized that other people's desire buried my desires.
Yes.
Other people's dreams buried my dreams.
Yes.
Because of my need to pay my bills and focus on other day-to-day activities, I got lost in the process. So now I was able to find myself. I found my anchor. And once I found my anchor, I'm now able to unleash. So I'm in the period of unleashing. I'm unleashing. I've been unleashing since I wrote that book. And so that topic, Lost and Found, is very dear to me because I really, truly believe that I was lost. I am still lost in some sense, meaning that the things that I've lost throughout my life, I haven't quite gathered them as yet, but I am gathering and I am finding. But that awareness piece that I talk about in the beginning is my first step in finding myself. So,
Finding yourself.
Yes.
So what's important in terms of being lost and then recognizing that you're lost in that moment? And trying to understand how is that in contrast to change that is needed?
Oh, it definitely goes hand in hand because what I discovered is that you go through change in life without even knowing that you're going through change. Change is inevitable. So when I start finding out the things or realizing the things that I was doing that doesn't line up with my life, then I had to change. And it first started with changing with the mindset, understanding, well, why was I doing that in the first place? Was I doing that because I wanted to do it, or was I doing it because I was influenced to do it? Am I doing it because I'm doing it for someone else, or am I doing it truly because of me? And one of the things that I discovered was when you find yourself, you find the you that is within you. And I use this concept Y-O-U. The Y meaning that those are things that belongs to other people. The O are things that belongs to, let's say, your family and the friend. But the U are the things that belong only to you. So what are those things that belongs to Janet? That at the end of the day, Janet is the one who is responsible for that. Right? So find that anchor within you that only belongs to you and focus on that anchor. Focus on that thing that only belongs to you, and then you will unleash your inner power.
Wow. I really needed to hear that. I think that is powerful. And I think that's a really nice message to leave our audience with. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Karen.
That's all the time we have for today's episode of Health 180 with Carion Fenn on Rogers TV. My name is Carion Fenn. Thank you to my guests, Janelle and Jeanette, for being here today. And thank you for joining as we recognize Black History Month. And a special thank you for being here. And remember, together we are stronger.